Salut à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans Story Séries. Cette semaine, on vous a réservé nos plus belles rencontres de 2020 avec des acteurs formidables.
A war was started when my father was shot.
L'anglais Joe Cole, découvert dans Skins et Peaky Blinders, nous racontera son expérience devant la caméra de Gareth Evans pour la série mafieuse et ultra-violente Gangs of London. L'excellent Lin-Manuel Miranda nous fera rêver avec l'univers enchanteur et foisonnant de His Dark Materials, adapté de la saga de Philip Pullman.
Lee Scoresby. I can fight and I can fly. I don't come cheap and neither should I.
Mais avant cela, nous retrouvons Josh Radnor, le touchant Ted Mobsy de How I Met Your Mother, reconverti en chasseur de nazis dans Hunters, où il partage l'affiche avec Al Pacino. I've read in an interview that you always wonder, what does this role represent in my life right now? Why do I say yes?
Yeah.
Why did you say yes to Lonnie?
Well, initially I just said yes because, you know, he's a movie star from the 70s who kills Nazis, and that felt like, yeah, that's something really exciting and new and different and weird. And sometimes I don't know why I've said yes to a role until I'm doing the role. At first he felt very, very, very different than me. Yeah. And then the more I played him, the more I understood the overlaps of where me and the character meet.
Get on, Lonnie.
Well, this movie star needs no introduction. Let's tell the kid who he's menage a ochoing with, huh?
And there's something about having people think one thing about him and feeling differently about that. There was a lot about visibility and, you know, certainly being an actor, which I understood.
Do you feel it's like a kind of a healing process or introspection process?
Yeah, I think every role... I think you get a role in some sort of mystical, weird way. Mm. You need to work out something personally through the character. And that's why you get the role, because there's something about you and the DNA of you and the character that are somewhat similar. And yeah, I think that's the right word. I think there is something healing about doing the right role at the right time. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like learning is something that you carry a lot. I wonder what kind of relationship you have to your job, and do you feel like it's not taken seriously enough to be an actor? Either
generally,
with your,
or
yes,
my
that people don't realize how much work that means, how much dedication that means.
I think one of the hard things is if acting's done well, it looks easy, right? So when people think it looks easy, they think they could do it. They think, oh, you just do it. In some ways, being a normal person, like I did on How I Met Your Mother or Rise, those are the hardest roles because it's a little easier to, you know, have facial hair and groovy costumes and kind of create something. But it's very hard to play a normal person who's centered at the center of a story, be forwarding a plot, and let all this other crazy stuff happen around you, and be the eyes and ears for the audience to enter into. So a lot of the work that I've done that's been the hardest, actually the hardest, probably looks the easiest and is least appreciated. Whereas I think, you know, you notice like the Oscars, or awards tend to give awards for things that look like there's a lot of acting going on. I remember when Christian Bale won his Oscar for The Fighter, and he thanked Mark Wahlberg, and he said, to give a loud performance like mine, you need someone giving a quiet performance. And I was really moved by that because I've given a lot of quiet performances that help other people give loud performances. And in Hunters, I get to give a much louder performance. And I'm really grateful because I know that my loud performance won't work without, like Logan, for instance, being really solid, anchoring the whole show. I've done that for other people, but I know that it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I can make it look that easy.
Wow. It's like the entire guest list at Freddie Mercury's annual Vaseline party. That's where I got that accidental hand job from Peter, Paul, and Mary. Classic PP&M.
Eric Folsom. Almost as shitty of a stage name as Lonnie Flash.
Hey, you can call me Leonard Flashenstein any dia of the Samana, baby.
Come on.
It seems like he's using humor in a very unique way.
Yeah.
Like maybe a shield or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Do you feel comedy is a shield?
Not always. Sometimes it can be a seduction or an invitation or an icebreaker. I mean, there's many reasons to use humor.
Our segment is entitled, How to Find a Nazi. Useful tips on identifying Hitler's finest in everyday life. Ready, Lonnie?
Ready, Yolanda. Number 1. Now, this is an easy one. If your neighbor waves hello with his arm in a perfect 45-degree angle and invites you over to see his new walk-in oven he's been building in his garage, you might want to take a rain check. That could mean you've got a Nazi next door. Yolanda, number 2.
White people. Is this the balloon driver?
I'm an aeronaut, kid. Lee Scoresby.
So what was your relationship with His Dark Materials? I've heard you were kind of in love with it already.
Yeah, I read them in my 20s. When my wife and I started dating, we were kind of, you know, you remember the songs you listened to when you were first dating, but you also remember the things you read together, and we read that series at the same time and sort of fell in love with them. It's such an incredibly rich world. Yeah, so I associate it with that. And it's a wonderful world to be in. Philip Pullman creates a very complete set of universes with these books.
Running around with a child's mind. Woo! Man gets lucky just a couple of times. Sing it, Hester.
The fact that I get to spend time with it, spend time inside it in a physical form by doing this TV show is really a dream come true.
You're excited.
Damn right I am.
How did you react when you were asked to do it? Was it like, oh, it's destiny, of course?
No, I was very surprised. I was very surprised when they asked me, especially Lee Scoresby, who I don't think I'm the first person on anyone's casting list when it comes to Lee Scoresby, but Jane Tranter and Jack Thorne approached me about that, and I was so honored. And I remember telling my wife that night, because they took me out to dinner, and then I went home and told my wife that night, and she was like, oh, cool. And so that was when I said yes. When I saw my wife go, oh. It was interesting.
You became your wife's hero.
Again? Yes. Well, I'm always trying.
You're bleeding.
Hazard of the job?
And what job do you do?
I'm in aeronautics.
What part of being an aeronaut?
Let me give you a tip, kid. Never upset a seagull.
You're not serious.
Not if I can help it.
There are many themes in the books, and my 2 favorites, I would say, is on one side, the loss of innocence, and on the other side, the importance of collaborating. Yeah. You won't go far alone. You have to trust people. And how do you apply those 2 things to your life as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about that is, I've read Philip Pullman's writing about his writings. He released this book of essays called Demon Voices last year, and how he was really sort of exploring Milton's Paradise Lost. And it was sort of a riff on that begat His Dark Materials. And Jack Thorne, our writer, has sort of expressed it in a different way, which is greatness versus goodness, which is a lovely way of putting the theme of, there are many people who try to do quote-unquote great things, but the cost to the people around them is often not that great. Whereas Lyra is always trying to do the right thing, and in doing that sort of makes the world a better place. As opposed to trying to be great, she just tries to do what's right.
Just turn around, walk away with me, please.
She's just a kid, but she talks some sense. These people need our help, Yorick. Let's go give it. This isn't who you are. And then collaboration is the reason I get to talk to you. I mean, I work in theater for the most part, and you cannot create a great musical by yourself. You are dependent on your actors and your director and your choreographer and your music director and your designers. My favorite part of that process when I'm working on a musical is the moment I get to bring in a new song I've written to my collaborators and hear their ideas, and they make my work better and I make their work better. That's the only kind of art I'm interested in. I could never write a novel. It would be too lonely. I like making things with other people, which is why I like being on film sets and why I love making musicals.
I guess if you had a special relationship with this book, How did you get into the skin of Lee Scoresby? Did you have your own idea of this is how I want him to be? And did they allow you to be this version?
Well, again, it comes back to collaboration.
Yeah.
When I saw Caroline's design for the outfit, I was 80% of the way there. It was such a cool and interesting approach to Lee, different from what I'd seen in my head when I was reading the books. But as soon as I put it on, I was like, oh yeah, here he is.
Well, that showed them.
I like to think I made my point.
And what point was that?
3 watches and a wallet.
As I was saying, we would like to thank you all for coming. Today we mourn the loss of a great man, but tomorrow it will be business as usual.
No. The tap stays off.
Sean.
Nothing gets brought in. Nothing gets shipped out. No dirty money is washed. No one sells a fucking gram on those streets. Everything stops. Until I find out who killed him.
I know that you're very attracted to challenges and things people might be afraid to do and you don't care about it. And I think A Prayer Before Dawn is a big proof of that. So how do you approach the idea of playing an anti-hero and knowing that it's going to be hard for the audience to like you?
Playing those roles, it's the bread and butter. It's why I want to be an actor. I think it's like, yeah, they're the most fun roles. You want to get deep. You want to go to dark places. I like going to uncomfortable places. This is why I'm in this game and working with great filmmakers, and the only way you're going to work with the best filmmakers is if you're trying to play those kind of roles that take you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. I'd like to talk about the love and the respect of the genre. There are many genres in Gangs of London. Gangster is the most obvious, but action, family drama, Shakespearean drama. So I'd like to talk a bit about what kind of genres you love most, and is there one you feel defines more Gangs of London than the other?
In terms of the genres I love, obviously I've got quite a wide range of taste in films, and I take on board a lot of different influences from a lot of different backgrounds. And so for me, you know, obviously I'm more predominantly known for action cinema, and it's something that I've embraced and something that I love. I just understand the rhythms of it and understand the dance between the performers and the camera, and so naturally for that I've already got my set, you know, influences, whether it's like, you know, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. But for the other elements, the other things at play, it was finding a way for the world of the show to allow certain tonal shifts. The Shakespearean angle of it, the sort of the intense family drama, it has to be there, because it can't exist as 10 hours worth of an action sequence, because otherwise there's nothing to hang it on. If that's all it was, it's just spectacle and you just don't care. And so we found that, you know, if the story is strong, if the characters are strong, if the relationships are heartfelt, if there's enough that you can grasp and hold on to and clutch at a reality there, then we can then take you on those flights of fantasy where it becomes a show that leans more into the genre aspect of it then.
I can do something! If you want to help, stay away from this stuff. Ow! I'm fucking useless! Dad's dead!
I don't want you to die.
I don't want you to die.
Is it this kind of mix of genres that didn't make you think, I've done Peaky Blinders before, maybe I shouldn't go back to gangster stuff, because you had all these other genres mixed all together?
I mean, I think this show is its own beast. I really do. I think, you know, Peaky Blinders is a writer-led show predominantly. This is very much director-writer-led. This is, you know, Gareth predominantly has done a lot of action. Corin Hardy's predominantly done a lot of horror. Xavier Gens, again, a completely different style of filmmaker. Everybody's bringing their own unique experiences to the show, and for an actor, it was a gift to be on the other side of the lens and see these different people working so collaboratively and closely.
Story Séries, c'est terminé. La semaine prochaine, on commencera cette nouvelle année en revenant sur la série qui nous a bouleversés en 2020, la très expérimentale The Third Day, portée par Jude Law. Allez, à la semaine prochaine.